Welcome to the show, everybody, on another episode of Expose Your Worth. Today I'm bringing on Richard Gray. Richard Gray is with eLife Human Capital Management, and he offers a cloud-based solution you're not going to want to miss in this episode. So check it out. It's coming up next. Hey, welcome everybody for another episode of Expose Your Worth. I'm your awesome health plan coach, Oscar Quiroga here, and I'm with a very good friend of mine, Richard Gray. Richard Gray, he is with eLife Human Capital Management. Richard, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it. I'm super excited to be with you.
I'm super impressed that we can just come on Zoom at the same time. There's no glitches. So here we are rocking and rolling today on a Friday afternoon. So Richard, tell the audience what's going on in your world and what do you do right now?
Sure. So eLife, Human Capital Management, we just around here say eLife. It really, the E stands for employee life. So we're trying to help folks with small to large companies when it comes to their goals. Getting their goals into a system, tracking their goals, and then probably one of the biggest things is just tying the goals back to the tasks that happen all day long.
Oh, I get it. When we talked once before, and you were telling me a little bit about what you did, I found that to be so interesting because obviously goal setting for business owners is a huge endeavor, but even a professional needs it. Anybody who's kind of trying to get anywhere in life needs to set goals. So what's different, or what's the factor, the wow factor, and maybe even the why factor of eLife? What's the magic behind eLife?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. Ultimately, everybody that we all exist because we're all survivors, we're all strivers, right? Every human on this planet is a miracle, and we all want to do something with our lives. So when you go to work, you need help, and so the impetus behind eLife was people want recognition, but they don't want just standard, "Hey, good job." All of us want to be able to see that it's connected to real accomplishments. We want to be recognized, and so the wow factor is engagement. We all want to be engaged, and people that run businesses, the managers, the owners, they need folks that are engaged, and employees need to be engaged as well, because ultimately if you're doing work and you're just going through the grind and there's really not any value in it for you, then there's no sense in even being where you're at, right? So that's what we try to do, is help both individuals and companies really have that engagement, and people feel good about going to work.
Hey, Richard, I have a Franklin planner. Is that going to get me where I need to go? Is that what we're talking about?
That's a great question. And honestly, I had a Franklin planner 30 years ago. Yeah. So throw the Franklin planner away, but keep the concepts in place. So, when you used to write that you didn't get something done, you push it over to the next day. Now you just electronically just click on it and it goes over the next day. But yeah, that's the concept. The concepts are still there. Franklin planner are great. But what I got to tell you is you want to tie the goals that you have, you want to tie to your action plan. And so, yeah, now you can have your plan in Google Calendar. You can have it on Microsoft Calendar, all the different calendars out there, and you can do it electronically. Yeah, similar concept.
I mean, that, I used to think that it was all about writing down, in the planner and then going through all that. And I've been a proponent to become as digital as possible. It's kind of where things are headed. But tell us a little bit about, what is eLife doing in its product aspect? Is this something that's supposed to make my life a little easier?
Yeah, I think that not only a little easier, but I think aligning the objectives and goals that any person wants to accomplish. So, because here's the thing, we can all do tasks, and if we don't set aside some time and go, were the tasks that I did they help me accomplish the goals? Do I need to stop a task? Do I need to start a different one? Do I need to tweak a task? But ultimately, we've got to be able to see that if I'm going to spend an hour doing something, is it going to help drive the goals that I need to achieve, even in my personal life, in my family life, in the business life? And try to verify, look, if it's not worth doing, let's get it out of the way. But when it comes to the business, when it comes to an enterprise, everybody reports to somebody, right? And so ultimately, the tasks that we're doing and the goals that we're achieving, they need to be out in the open so everybody can see them, so they're no longer in the dark. And people go, oh, I saw that you hit a goal, and it's on the fly and it's real time. That's the beauty of the Life Pulse product.
So we're talking about a subscription-based product that people can get to make their lives not only easier. I mean, we're also seeing some way to track progress with your goals, right? I mean, this is goal tracking progress in its ultimate spectrum, right? Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. If I can touch on something before you get to the next question, and that's this: most companies, you might know what your subordinate person who reports to you is doing, and vice versa. But across an enterprise, a lot of times people across enterprises really don't know what each other are doing or how they're working together. And the Life Pulse product makes it wide open for everybody to see everybody, so that different departments can be tied to each other and they can actually start working together, because their goals, in some goals may seem like they are opposed, but really ultimately the goals that then drive the bottom lines, right? And so that way, departments can work together.
so you're deploying this to big companies, or is this work for an individual? I mean, how many spectrums does this really apply to?
I'm glad you asked. And ultimately, we started programming for enterprise companies, very large. What we found is an individual can use it as an entrepreneur, just trying to track their own goals and their own progress, and tying their daily tasks to their accomplishments.
So it sounds like I'm going to have some type of solution on my computer. Will it go to my cell phone? Will it go to I mean, how does all that work?
Yeah. So what's great is while you're sitting at the airport and you're just waiting on your flight, you can actually check through all the employees that report to you. You can actually go through. You can see what they literally just keyed in their results for the week, and you can see where they're at for that week, and you can see where they're at for the whole year. So now, think about this, Oscar. In just a few days, the first quarter is done and in the books, and you can see if some of the goals you want to be at by December, if they're already starting to be off track, and you can get those back on track with the Life Pulse. Yeah.
Who's using this right now? What kind of companies are using it, or maybe even do you have some examples?
Yeah, so we have construction companies that are using it, and when you're able to tie the sales with the operations, and you can start to see how each one helps each other and works with each other. So when a certain indice starts to go up, for instance, if we're on a project for less days, we want to bring down the number of days that we're on a project. That helps a salesperson sell those jobs. You can start tracking those things. And so from an enterprise standpoint, a number of companies, we work with entrepreneurs. A lot of entrepreneurs use this to really, they had it on paper and now they're electronic, and it's just really quick for them to just click on and even know where they stand at any moment.
So it sounds, I mean, like we're solving a problem with organization for the unorganized person, or solving some problems with efficiencies. Trying to close gaps probably. And I'm just thinking, because I used to do website development, so there's so many stages of with if I had a team and I had to assign tasks to certain teams, I can see that you can now manage and close gaps in inefficient progress or something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the key is, you've explained it for me, so I don't even have to explain it, but I can go a little bit further. And that's
Yeah.
this. That's that it's on the fly and it's real time. We're not talking about something that happened a month ago that we're discussing. We're talking about, hey, I just looked and I just saw that you put in your results, right? And let's talk about tweaking some of the things we're doing. I used to do your job, and I think that if we stop doing this and we start doing that, we're going to be able to be back on track immediately.
All right, so I got to ask you, why did you put this together, and how did you come across this eLife program? What happened?
Man, I'm so glad you asked, because it's over 30 years ago that I watched. I looked around. I was a young man. I'm now almost 60 years old, and as a young man, I was in management pretty early, in my early 20s, and I looked around and I saw a lot of people disappointed with, back then, what was called an annual review, right? And people really would shake their head and like, I don't understand. That doesn't even represent me. And you know what? We're still struggling. That's why eLife was started, because companies still struggle with paper. They have things on paper, and even if they have it electronically, it's like, it takes so long. And so Life Pulse takes it off of the paper, takes it from being something that's takes a long time, and we get to be rewarded for the actual results we're producing. And that's the key. We're no longer, my boss doesn't even really know what I do. And when we have to do reviews, guess what? I know where I stand. I know where I stand when I go to get ready to go into a meeting. Not just that the boss is saying, "Here's where you stand." And like, no, I know where I stand, and you do too, because I'm entering my results. And so it's a big game changer for doing business differently when it comes to the people business. We're going to do things differently in the area of helping people.
So how does somebody get started? I mean, what do they got to do to either at least take a peek at this thing, or what happens?
Yeah, I can get through it for most folks in 20 minutes to a half hour. Love to do demos, and we can quickly get through the demo and really see some things. We have whiz bang stuff in Life Pulse, but if people just use the basics, they're going to see results immediately. And so they hit. They can go to our website. They can so www.elifehcm.com, and there's a place to just ask for a demo, and they ask for the demo, and we're going to set that up, and we're going to get them started with, not only as an individual but as an enterprise, 1,000 employees, 10,000 employees. We're gonna help organizations get started immediately.
Well, Richard, you're a dynamic guy. You're obviously very passionate about what you do. Obviously, I would assume that you've got some time off during the days. What does Richard like to do when he's not at work and planning these things out?
So I'm a crummy golfer, but I love being on the golf course. I love taking my wife to Hawaii. We love Maui. One year we went 3 times. I'm like, hey, let's just go 4 or 5 times, right? And with with the last year, of course, well, we were there only a year ago, last March, but always looking for that. And what's really cool? Don't have a lot of hobbies, but I have my first granddaughter, Theodora. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
So I spent a lot of time. Matter of fact, she was in my office just a few minutes ago, and I got to play with her. She had a little tutu on,
Uh,
4 months old, and had a little tutu. So I was making her dance. So that's what I do when I'm on my spare time.
well, we were going to try to make this video evergreen, but congratulations, anyways. That's awesome. Is this first time for you, Granddad?
Yeah, this is number one.
All right.
And so we're so pleased, just learning how to be a grand. And so, just so you know, my nickname, all grandparents have different nicknames, right? So mine is like you would be from Ireland. I'm Granda.
Granda. Okay. Hey, I mean, I come from a Latin background, so it's abuelo or, lelo and any of those things. So, hey, everybody's got a different way of saying it. Um, well, listen, I want to wrap up. I mean, obviously, Richard, has been just a very glimpse of what you do. I'm sure as people want to get to know you, how can they get a hold of you? You mentioned it earlier, so I'm going to have the ticker that says where to go. But how else can people get a hold of you if they need to?
Yeah, I want to be available as easily as possible. So it is three different ways. You can call my direct line, 405-679-4394. Love to take those messages. My email is Gray at elifehcm.com. They can go to our webpage, www.elifehcm.com, and there'll be a place to request a demo, and we'll get a hold of you. We'll get in touch with you, and we'll that demo is free, but honestly, you're going to gain something out of it even by doing the demo. Even if you say, "Hey, it's not for me," you're going to get something out of learning about goals and tracking your goals for sure.
I bet you the audience is watching this right now has probably figured out that that's probably valuable for them if they're in a profession or working in a company. So I hope that they get a chance to get a hold of you because I think it's an amazing product and idea. So Richard, I appreciate your time coming to the show.
That was so much fun this afternoon. Thanks for having me.